I love Kiz as a person, but he's not the catcher of the future. I say put Yadi on the IL for his injury and give Ivan Herrera a chance to see what you have. For the DeYoung thing, none of the young guys should be sent down. Sosa should be traded for anything you can get, but as there's nothing you can get for him, I'd remove him off the 40-man since he's out of options. That will open the spot for DeYoung to be a bench bat. Go.
I like Sosa. He just hasn't, he's had opportunities. He hasn't really run with them. I think his defense isn't as good as DeYoung. Certainly offensively, he hasn't gotten going. And I just think the Cardinals are better with DeYoung at shortstop. Of all the different layouts you can have for this Cardinal lineup, I think they're best defensively if DeYoung were there. But he's got to hit, and he wasn't. So I'm not. It's not fantasy land. He's got to hit, and he wasn't. But defensively, they're better with him at short and Edman at second base.
Don't you also think the fact that you made the drastic movement to send a veteran player who's been in the big leagues for 5 years or so, who's making money, making 6-ish this year, 9-ish next year. The fact that you make the drastic move to send him to the minors, and he is starting to hit some home runs now. Look, he's
8
going
and 12.
Right, he's going to come back up. Just so everybody knows, he's going to get a legit opportunity to play a ton again. You don't send somebody down like that. I don't think they're going to have him play every day in the minor leagues, then come back up and play once or twice a week. I think when they figure out in their brains that, hey, we think Paul DeYoung is now right, if they think that, and maybe it's soon, I believe Paul DeYoung is going to play a ton at shortstop. They're going to give him every opportunity in the big leagues to win back that job.
So here's the other side of that. So talking to someone within the organization, and then I'll tell you what Mo said yesterday in pregame. But someone in the organization said, Paul's doing really well, but what do you want to do with Gorman? Well, I said, well, he could DH, be your lefty DH. And they said, if Gorman's here, he's got to play. If Yepes is here, he's got to play. And Donovan is one of our best players right now. So what do you do with those guys? So you have to figure out that balance, which I get. John Mozeliak, when I pointed out the numbers, he said he was aware of it. He said he checks the box score every day. And he said what he needs to do is keep doing what he's doing, because at some point in the near future, as he put it, we're going to have a hard decision on how he fits in. So
what about the Kiz talk?
All right. So
boy.
Okay, Kiz is our boy, and I will say he hit some on the road trip. He hit some hard line drives. Now that's cliche when guys aren't hitting, but he really did. Defensively, I can tell you this: talking to pitchers, just without cameras, just chatting, they love Kiz. They think they don't lose anything with him behind the plate, and they say the work he puts in, and that's another thing too, especially on television. We talk he's a hard worker. Kiz is like a fiend with going through video and preparation, even when he's not starting, and pitchers appreciate that, and the starters say they like having Kiz behind the plate, so that weighs in on whether or not a guy is a piece of the puzzle, especially when he's not hitting right now. And I think Kiz can hit better. He hasn't, but he's got to do it at some point.
What do you think, Charlie?
Well, again, and I'll be the first one to admit, I was on a trip. I watched a lot of Cardinals, but I didn't get to watch every game like I'm usually doing here.
Yeah, but you saw the pregame on the big video board.
I just tweeted that out, actually, so people can see Jim Hayes on a huge monitor. So I watched about half the game yesterday. I watched a lot of the Tommy Edman walk-off game. And so as I'm trying to catch back up, I did see that, I don't want to say it was trending. It's more trending in St. Louis. But some people were criticizing Ali when asked, and there's the quote out there, there's the audio, the video from Bally Sports Midwest, about needing better production from his catchers. That's how the question was asked. And Ali did say, we need more from Kiz. And the fact that he did say that about Kiz and not Yadi when they have similar numbers. Let's be real. And we all know Yadi's a Hall of Famer. He's at the end of his career. Andrew Knizner is early on in his career. But it is true, big picture, the catching position offensively, you got to get more than what you're getting. You got to get more than folks that are around a 50 OPS plus or 60. We're talking 50 to 60% of league average offensively. So I do think it's fair to say that from both of those guys, because they're kind of split in time, you don't really have an A starter at this point. They're splitting up reps pretty equally. You need more out of that position from both guys.
And Nate probably knows better than I do because he looks at stats apparently more than I do, or at least sometimes. But no offense, but if you look at catchers around baseball, most of them don't hit. So if you have a guy like Kisner, certainly with Yadi, in a big moment, you feel pretty good with the Yadi at bat, whether or not he's trending in a positive or negative direction based on his history. But with a young guy like Kisner who plays pretty good defense, he made an unbelievable play, snatching a ball in the dirt and throwing a guy at it second. We've seen what he can do at his best defensively. But guys around the league, catchers don't hit anyway.
Why? Why don't they hit? Why don't catchers hit?
It's never. I mean, you have the outliers like the Johnny Benches, and the Pudge Rodriguez's, and even the Yadis. Yadi came into baseball as a guy who was a defensive catcher, and he got better with working at it as an offensive player. But for the most part, you see a lot of guys that are catchers that their specialty is handling pitchers and playing defense.
Yeah, and Yadi back in the day had some really good offensive seasons. He really did turn himself into a very valuable offensive player. At this point in both of their careers, though, I think it's fair to say it's hard when one position in your lineup, whether it's Yadi or Kisner, they're batting to, again, a 55 or a 60 OPS plus, where you're talking 40 to 45% below league average. You don't even need them to be above average. You don't even really need them to be average offensively, because I agree with you, Kat. There's a lot of catchers that aren't hitting well. Not everybody can be Wilson Contreras this year.
Right. The good offensive catchers are outliers for the most part.
But the fact, it would be nice if your catching position could get you up to an 80% and not be hovering around 55, 60. That's pretty low.
Here's the thing too. If you especially since there's no pitchers, hitting in the National League anymore, you don't want that bottom of the order to be like you're facing pitchers. Especially for the Cardinals, who have gotten so much production from the Edmonds, the Goldschmidts, Arenados. You want to connect that if you can, and that means the guys at the bottom of the order like Kisner and Yadi got to hit.
They got to hit, baby. What do you got over there, Nate?
I think also what's throwing some fuel to this fire is that you got Ivan Herrera at AAA hitting a cool 311. I mean, he's a career 282 hitter in the minor leagues, and so he's kind of been named the catcher, so to speak, of the future, more so than even Kiz. And if this guy's doing it, he's already had a couple of quick cups of coffee in the big leagues. I think what you're seeing Ollie do is make sure that guys don't get too comfortable in the big leagues. Okay? If it can happen to Paul DeJong, who was an all-star 3 years ago, and we could send you down, it can happen to anybody. And this team's had an influx of energy brought by young guys coming up from Memphis, whether that's Brendan Donovan, Nolan Gorman, Juan Yepes. And I don't think that they were too concerned about pulling the trigger to try to spark something if things don't change in a timely fashion. So
and they like Herrera.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
he's got offensive numbers, but he's a really good defensive catcher too.
Yeah. Is Kiz not trending in the right direction quick enough for this organization? Where do you, if you're evaluating Kiz, because he's our boy, okay? Where is he at? Is he about as expected? Are they worried about him? I know they kind of called him out a little bit. But, where is he at?
I think defensively he's exactly where they want him to be. I think, and I would say you base that on just talking to the pitchers. He's doing his job. They just want to see him hit.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not making this as a definitive statement, but when you looked at, for many years, Yadi has beaten Father Time. We talked about the catcher of the future 5-6 years ago with Carson Kelly.
Yep.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the catcher of the future potentially with Andrew Kisner. And now we're talking about potentially the catcher of the future with Ivan Herrera. And I do think Kisner is trending in a direction where you're looking at him most likely more as a backup catcher or a timeshare big picture. Now, he could change that. He could, again, change that trajectory by hitting better in the big leagues. But next year, I would think Herrera is going to get every opportunity to win that job, and whoever plays better, whoever hits better is going to get it. I just think, now Herrera might come back up again this year, but I don't think there's a ton of urgency. And I only say that because this position so figures itself out next year. Like Herrera next year when Yadi's gone will have every opportunity to be the starting catcher.
I agree with that. But, we've seen Kiz, he was at around 250, for, stretches where that's where you need him to be. And now we're seeing a decline. He can get it back quick. It's not like he's had every at-bat, so he has a few hot games that averages right back in place. But I agree with you. Looking ahead, it will kind of figure itself out. And the urgency is, hey, do we have a guy who the pitchers trust to handle him right now? Well, we got Yadi and Kiz, so they're fine with that.
And I think there will be a different motivation next season for both Kisner and Herrera. And I'm not saying, they're not trying as hard as possible. But as long as Yadi's here, we all know Yadi's the man. Yadi's the man. He's the catcher as long as he's here. And I think if you're Kisner and you're trying to get a contract, you're Herrera, you're trying to make yourself a big league player, next year both those dudes know they're coming in.
Yeah,
Yadi's not here.
Toe-to-toe.
The GOAT is no longer here.
Yep.
And now one of us has to win this job. And I think as long as Yadi's here, it's harder to transition there because they're always going to kind of be the backup.
It's like having a goalie situation in hockey. But yeah, no, you're right. Let me hit the text line real quick. By the way, we need to go to a game. I want to see him. He hooked me up with, and I'm pointing at Jim right now. I got my Arenado jersey on. It looks pretty good on me. Kind of does.
No, it doesn't.
I'm telling you, I feel good in it. Baseball jerseys are so heavy. This thing's light. It's nice. My arms look kind of jacked. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yadi came to the Cardinals this year out of shape. Maybe that's why he's hurt. Okay.
Well, he admitted that there was something going on. He got late. He got to spring training late. And he was trying to play himself into shape. And there was a stretch where he was hot at the plate again.
Yeah.
I wonder if, look, you see him after games, he's got the giant ice packs on his knees.
Oh,
look,
God.
It's not easy for him, okay? I mean, he's sacrificing, some of going through the pain and stuff like that to be in there. And he wants to get through this season. He wants the Cardinals to win. He wants to get that record with Waino. I get that. But I would say he's probably paying a low price for it.
Ivan Herrera is hitting .311 with .866 OPS in AAA. It's hard to find an excuse not to give him a chance, especially when Yadi is dealing with a small injury.
Well, because they want Yadi to catch Waino.
Yeah. All right.
And that shouldn't dictate your season either.
No,
I get it. I want them to break the record.
Yeah.
I love Yadi and Waino. So far, the Cardinals have done a great job of working in nostalgia, which honestly isn't easy. I'm not saying that as a joke. It's actually hard to navigate winning baseball with trying to get a personal record for two players and also try to work Albert Pujols into getting at bats because he's a Hall of Famer. Like, that is part of this equation. So far, the Cardinals are doing it well, but that's not easy. Look, the Lakers with Kobe Bryant the last couple of years were terrible because all they cared about was Kobe Bryant and how he would end his career on the court. They sucked. The fact that the Cardinals are navigating a difficult spot with a first-year manager, it's not easy because that's not an ideal situation. It isn't.
No.
When you have to play a guy or you want to play a guy to win a record, that's not an ideal situation while you're also trying to get to the playoffs and win.
Yeah. But let's be honest, because of injuries and because Albert's facing right-handers, that ain't nostalgia. He's your best option. Like when I see on Twitter, they're putting Albert in there, because he wanted to. No, because they looked at the numbers, and he's your best option for that position in that game, and he's facing right-handers. Matt, you had the Do Not Disturb on, so obviously you had a late night.
How about you? I don't even know what that means, Jim.
I don't know what that means either.
No, the notifications on your phone.
On the phone, it said you had...
Oh, that's just you.
So I just want to say this, that our producer, Nate, pointed out that accidentally, and I can say this because my business cards have not been circulated, the phone number on my business card is Matt Holliday's cell phone. And I told him about it, and he said, I wasn't really worried because no one wants to call you.
Yeah, that's actually right. I haven't had any calls that I thought were maybe the fact that you passed out any kind of business card. So I feel pretty good about it.
So, Matt, I'm just curious because we had you on for many times. You were coming on at 9:30. We were going right up till 10. We were having great conversations. And then recently, there was the 1 5-minute visit, and then Now it's 9:48, and I'm just wondering, have we kind of are we wearing you out?
No, I have a life going on, so sometimes I have things besides this show that I forget about on Mondays. So I'm actually on the treadmill, working out a little bit, talking to you guys. So I figured I had some time to kill.
I was wondering what he was doing.
What do you set that thing on?
Right now it's on 3.5 at 15-degree incline while I talk to you.
It's not bad.
That's
not bad.
It starts to wear on
I got to
you.
get back on the treadmill, but I don't want to give him the ammo to fire
Yeah,
me.
I know.
So we were
I
talking.
bet you have been. What do you mean, ammo?
Go ahead, Charlie.
Well, I know we have a lot to get to here. So I did see a tweet maybe last week. Do you now have potentially, are both your sons around the number one ranked player in their class? Is that true now?
Yeah, Ethan got ranked number 1 by PBR last week. So, yeah, they're both doing well in baseball. So I don't know what those rankings mean, but they're both pretty good.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So humble.
Thank you.
Both pretty good.
My son got his first start for his new team. It's a select team, and he gave up 3 homers.
Sorry
Matt.
about it. That's okay.
It's not fair. Life is not fair. I want my kid to be great at baseball too, but the gene pool he's swimming in is shallow.
Shallow. God almighty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matty, we used to do the treadmill test at training camp where you start really slow and then the incline goes up and it's more of a jog and then it goes up and you go until you can't go anymore. You're all hooked up with all these different things. It's pretty crazy, man. It's like the most torturous thing you possibly do. 7 to 10 minutes and you're done on that thing. I don't know if that's what your workout routine's like today.
15-degree incline, weighted vest.
Oh,
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
That's why I'm breathing a little bit hard, but I can't let y'all get in the way of my workout.
No doubt.
No.
Well, Matt, how about unfortunately the end to the Oklahoma State season? I know you guys had a really good year, but falling short a week ago. After a really good season, just kind of take us through the end of the year for you guys.
Yeah, honestly, and looking at kind of Arkansas's resume, I'm not sure how they ended up as a 2 seed. And as a 7th national seed, how we got Arkansas as a 2 seed, I thought was, I don't know, I didn't think that was right. But anyways, we played well. They just played, they had made a few more plays than we did. And, it was a great group of kids. The thing that to take away from this season is that, they were fun to coach. And so anyway, like I said, it didn't go our way at the end, but our kids were, the way they fought back in the 2 games on Saturday, I think it was Saturday, maybe Sunday. We were down 12-0 in an elimination game. Came back and won 29-15, 14.
Dang.
So, like I said, to me, the most fun part is the getting to know the kids and helping them get better and helping them grow as humans. And this was a lot of fun. This group was a lot of fun. So you hate to see it come to an end because you want good things to happen to good people. And it was just a little bit short.
So we appreciate you coming on with us while you work out. Pretty amazing that you're still smarter than us and you have a weighted vest on and you're on an incline. But I before we let you go, I wanted to ask you, there's a little controversy brewing. So Ali Marmol benched Harrison Bader, pulled him out of a game for not running out a fly ball. And the two talked and they're on the same page. Bader, said, I get it. I'm the energy guy. I have to set the tone. And then, of course, social media came out with, well, why is he calling out Bader but not Yachty or Albert for not running out things? You've been a veteran guy. Isn't it a different animal between the young guy who's a table setter and a guy who's at the end of his career who has to be very careful about what he does to make sure he lasts the entire season? Or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, I think that there's guys, if the guy doesn't catch a fly ball, Harrison Bader has the skill and the speed to end up on second or third. So if there is something that goes wrong, he can end up there. If somebody drops a fly ball and Yachty's running, he's not going to second. So whether he's going 100% or 70%, for Yachty, it doesn't affect the team. It's not really a different play, even Albert at this point in his career. So, if you want to pick and choose, I mean, Ollie saw an effort that wasn't in line with what he expects out of the group. And, whether, you call it what you want, make an example, whatever. But he felt like it was a time for Harrison to get the message, and maybe even the rest of the team, that, that's just not, a championship quality effort. It's not that big a deal. I think people, especially with, social media now, and everybody has an opinion. I think it's made too big of a deal of, he set out, 3 or 4 innings, back in the lineup the next day, all good. I mean, so I don't think it's a big deal, but I do think that there are differences between Yachty and Harrison Bader and what kind of effort they give down the line based on just what that means for if somebody does make an error. So I do think that there's different, you never know if, how Yachty's banged up or older players are managing some sort of injury. So I obviously not there and don't know all the ins and outs of what happened, but that would be just my kind of surfacey watching from the outside view on it.
Now, we know you play the game hard. Did that ever happen to you back in the day? Maybe Clint Hurdle? Did he ever have to do anything like that with you?
So one time in Arizona, we were, I think it was maybe my 3rd year. I was on second base. Guy hits a single. I'm going to score easy. So maybe the last 5 steps towards home plate, I lightened it up a little bit and kind of coasted because, the on-deck hitter's got his arms up, saying sort of, you're good. And the guy tried to go to second, and they threw the guy out at second before I touched home plate because I slowed down. And so Clint took me out of the game. And, at the time, I thought it was, was wrong. And, like I said, I played the game, took a lot of pride in playing the game hard. And, I took 5 steps where I slowed it down just because, you sometimes you can. In hindsight, I made the wrong decision in knowing that the hitter might try to go to second. So the run didn't end up counting. He pulled me out of the game. We had a talk after the game. All was well. Was frustrated at the time, didn't like it, but at the same time, now looking back, whether or not he was sending a message to the team or just to me going forward, it's one of those things where you learn from it and move on.
Yeah, man. No, I get it. It's happened to all of us, Matty. And I don't care if you're the energy guy or not, man. You have bad days at times. You make, sometimes lazy decisions. But you're not a lazy guy, Matty. You have a weight vest on, and you're working out while doing a radio show. You're the man, dude. Appreciate it.
And don't forget, you got to replace nutrients. So grab a couple donuts.
Yes, grab a couple donuts.
Now.
Eat some pizza. You know how it goes.
Right. Yeah, I'll probably throw a dip in too, Jim.
A dip and a smoke. All right, Matty.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Enjoy your
buddy.
workout, buddy. We'll talk next week. See you, dude.
All right, guys.
Thanks. See it.
How about that?
He's always got time
Hilarious.
for us. Good God.
What a great answer, though. Even when he was disciplined, you understand why he did what he did.
Yeah, exactly.
But right when he started saying that, I said I knew what was going to happen is that runner was going to get tagged out.
I was wondering where he was going with that.
I got to say that your questions got good traction. Seth had one good traction. I would say I kind of shot blanks today.
Well, yeah,
I'll do better tomorrow.
Be good.
I don't think I should be benched.
Well,
but maybe a stern talking to.
I'll give you
that was a great response.
Well, thank you. But seriously, he could. Now, I don't know if his oldest son, Jackson, will be the number 1 pick. He has 2 sons who are either ranked, I'm talking number 1 in their class. The younger kid, I believe, is a freshman.
Who they think could be better than the older.
He's number 1 in his class in the country. And the other son, the older son, could be the number 1 pick, and if not, will probably be a top 5 pick.
Top 5. That's what they're saying. Could be number 1, but definitely. I mean, that's amazing.
I don't know who else is in that discussion, but you'd be crazy to not take Holiday's son. Number 1, like the pedigree, the video.
He's got in his blood.
Yeah.
It's like the Kachuk boys.
You know our drafting philosophy. We take the best player available.
Oh.
Here's what's crazy. So his younger son's class also has a bunch of former big leaguer sons. This year's class, the other kid who's an absolute monster stud is Andrew Jones's kid.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's another kid whose father is a sports talk radio host.
Yes.
Big T-Dog. Big T-Dog. He's going to be the agent to all these big boys. Yeah.